It is my view that it is a crucial and critical first step in calling a halt to the economic crisis inherited by this government, and I'm confident that it will mean good news for employers and workers indeed. As Concurla, I wouldn't claim to be an economist, but what I believe what this government is doing is to try and simulate a bottoming out of the economic crisis that we've inherited, and I firmly believe that the implementation of this bill will help in achieving that. Relative to the resources that have been made available to the Minister in that regard, I see it as a very modest step, but it's absolutely necessary that we get tackling this issue of long-term unemployment. Certainly, we have to consider the human cost of doing nothing in that regard. Some of the previous speakers that have absented themselves from that debate, who engage in that sort of chicken-licking politics that the sky is falling down. Deputy Ferris made reference with regard to our refusal to be tough on bondholders. We're in this situation with limited resources because Deputy Ferris was working in cahoots with Fianna Fáil in the last government with regard to the bank guarantee. And that's why we have limited resources, and that's why we have a very stern arrangement with regard to the EU and IMF arrangement. I want to make, however, reference to, in particular in this legislation, the restoration of the national minimum wage. The previous cut to the minimum wage was indeed a cynical move made by the previous government, and it is no doubt we need to try and provide as many incentives as possible for people to want and get to work. And certainly cutting the minimum rates of pay of the most vulnerable people in society, in my view, is not the way. And it's not the way of the Labour Party, I can tell you. Reforming social welfare is a priority for this government and is clearly set out in the programme of government. Las Concurla, you'll probably identify with what I'm going to say next, in that it was only last Saturday I met a man in my hometown of Tuam. He owns a coffee shop and a confectionery shop, and his first paying customer was at 12:30 on Saturday afternoon. And his issue wasn't whether he was paying premium pay on a Sunday or not, because he doesn't open Sunday and never has opened a Sunday. His issue was that there wasn't a bob in the pocket of the people walking up and down High Street Tuam. And I believe that the restoration of the minimum rate of pay is going to do a significant positive, it's going to have a significant positive outcome for the local economy. And, we're trying to undo the damage done by the previous government, who have taken money out of the pockets of the most vulnerable people in society. And as Deputy Costello said, these are people who are not investing in shares or paying a mortgage on a second property, or would have the need but just to live and to survive on a very minimum rate of pay. So the restoration of the minimum wage will boost the local economy and create jobs. I've no doubt it will. I'm not convinced that deflating the economy and taking money out of people's pockets is creating any jobs at all. In fact, the deflationary tactics that we have inherited from the previous government, I have no doubt has contributed to the significant number of unemployed people in this country, and we need to tackle that through a combination of education, training, and to ensure that unemployed people have confidence instilled in their ability to get back to work. Young people, new entrants, are entitled to have that confidence to get into the labour force. The Back to Education programme will provide 3,000 places for adults who have not received their Leaving Cert. The National Internship Scheme, which, once fully established, will offer 5,000 work placements to young people in all sectors of the economy. These measures, we hope, will and I believe, will bring a halt to emigration. As a rural deputy, the scourge of immigration is far more tangible. You can see the impact of it, and I think it's lost on some of the urban deputies. When you're walking around the urban setting, you don't get the sense of the impact of immigration. But when you come from a rural constituency, you can see that impact and the significance of that impact.
Sorry to say, the deputy, you have to conclude now.
Obviously, Las Concurla, some of those urban deputies who have come from rural constituencies might identify. The reality is that we're taking an important first step here It is the first step. This is not the total means to an end in the context of our economic recovery, but it's the start. It's the start of undoing a mess that we've inherited of 15 years of very bad government. I know you would be enthused to close that down.